Can my thoroughbred-loving co-host get Africa's elite to part with their well-kept investment secrets?
Is this the end?
Alec, I have a confession. We don't even have a morning meeting.
You don't even have a morning meeting? My goodness. Power lunch. Come and see the world through the eyes of Africa's thought leaders.
Lunch from a new perspective. 12 to 1 p.m. Central African time, every day.
Power Lunch, brought to you by Altec. Leading technologies, touching lives. Power Lunch, brought to you by Altec. Leading technologies, touching lives.
Welcome back to Power Lunch. Altec is a company that's linked with Power Lunch, and it's been a noisy company recently in terms of its boardroom and also with its earnings. But here's a deal that is hopefully going to be noisy in the right way in the future. Listen to this. Allied Technologies Limited, that's Altec, of course, and Huawei, a leading global information and communications technology ICT solutions provider, today announced the creation of a new business entity to drive future growth initiatives in the enterprise market. In the studio from Altec in Cape Town with me is Tim Ellis. Tim, tell us about the deal first of all, because Huawei is a company that I see as sort of quietly going about its business, but in the future might be something that could become a new Samsung.
You're right, Lindsay, and thanks very much for the invite today. Huawei has been around for a number of years, and in fact are the leading provider of services in the carrier space. It's really over the last 2 to 3 years that they've started to focus on the enterprise market. And they've been very aggressive in working in that market space. And I think from an Altec point of view, we see the value in what they can bring and the innovation that they bring into the market. And I agree with your comments. I think they're the next Samsung, both in the enterprise space, consumer device space as well.
You have a relationship with them already. What is it?
We have a value-added partner agreement that we signed back at the end of last year. In fact, our CEO, Mr. Craig Fenter, went through and signed that agreement, a long-term agreement. But it's taken us a few months to get the organization and the business unit in place and to skill up people so that when we go to market now, we're comfortable that we can provide the solutions that we need for our customers.
I was reading your press release, and it says that you've got this video conferencing link with them. They provided the technology, you've embraced it, and you've saved your travel and all sorts of other costs by 20%. So that's a start, of course. That's
right. We've started to invest in their technology in our organization. As they say, we're eating our own dog food. And one of that is the video conferencing. And it has saved us a lot of time and productivity improvements by being able to connect to our regional branches.
Give us the semantics, because shareholders will want to know exactly what it's going to mean, first of all, for your bottom line, and secondly, what the details are.
Okay, I think from the bottom line, we see tremendous enterprise space in the networking environment. And I think a lot of customers and corporates out there feel tied in by their existing suppliers. So I think from that point of view, from a revenue growth point of view, we see, a huge potential. I think also getting into new markets. Huawei is very focused around certain vertical markets. We recently concluded a deal with them on PRASA, which was close to 500 million. So the vertical market segment will be good for us to grow the business. I just believe that to broaden our opportunities right now, not only in South Africa, but in Africa, a company like Huawei can assist us in doing that.
Of course, and China is very much linked to the African continent. I was going to say that it's not just a South African deal, is it? It's obviously going to become part of your footprint and hopefully increase your footprint on the continent.
That's correct. We'll start here, build the team here, build the expertise, and then we'll start to grow into other parts of Africa, starting in the SADC region, but we have the capability of selling all into East Africa.
A lot of people are very cynical about companies like Huawei because of the reputation that certain Chinese companies have had in the past, whether it be a motorbike company, a motor car company, and some people say, well, yeah, they can go so far, but they can't become a Samsung. Do you agree with that, or do you think that cynicism is misplaced?
Yeah, I think it is misplaced, and I think looking at it from where Huawei has come from, they've been a communications company for many years. And like I say, they're now the #1 player in the carrier space. So for them, it's a natural progression to move into the enterprise space and also into the consumer side. So really, they have the whole full value chain from a consumer device, a handset, all the way through to the high-end communications that the likes of MTN, Vodacom, and others are using in their core networks.
How far advanced are they when it comes to the type of technology that you've just been describing? Because, again, I'm linking them, and you've linked them or compared them favourably with companies like MTN. Are they They might start to overtake the traditional providers?
I don't think they're going to play in the space of being an actual provider and competing with their customers. I think they'll just expand their offering. If you look at Huawei and the amount of R&D they spend and the number of people they have developing new innovation, there's around 60,000 engineers that they have in Shenzhen focusing on developing new products. So I think it's going to be complementary to what is being done with the carriers as we move into LTE and then beyond. I think that's the role they're going to play.
Are you impressed with the way they've gone about things? Were you impressed? I mean, was there, for example, anyone else that might have filled the Huawei space? Did you look at other collaborators?
We have, and I think that's something that Altec does on an ongoing basis. But, you know, I think the visit to Shenzhen, both by our CEO and myself and others, really impressed us immensely into the technology that they're developing and their commitment and the resources they're putting behind their investment in the enterprise.
What is your goal for this collaboration? It's a small one at the moment, let's face it, in the big scheme of things. From an Altec point of view, it is a small deal, but I can sense from the way that you're speaking enthusiastically about this, Tim, that you have high hopes for it.
We definitely do. I mean, we want to grow this in a number of different areas. Definitely on the consumer side, as we see the consumer devices getting more and more dominant. You know, they've recently announced the thinnest smartphone in the market, the P6, which is really an awesome product. And then we're seeing them expand again with a lot of solutions in enterprise. So, you know, I don't know where it could end. I think this relationship is long-term. I think it's going to grow and prosper for many years to come. And I think we'll see them developing a lot of newer technologies that to date aren't even out there, that we'll be able to bring to market.
Are they pioneers, though? You talk about newer technologies. Are they pioneers, or are they just jumping on the back of something and saying, OK, we can take this and we can adapt it without infringing any patents or copyrights or whatever it is?
Well, while we started, in some cases, there was a fair amount of copying going back. But, you know, that's what a lot of companies do to leapfrog them into the market.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, Koos Becker has said to me on a couple of occasions, I take an idea and I adapt it. I mean, you can't always be the innovator.
That's right. I mean, even Apple copied a lot of technologies that went into the iPhone. So I think they've done that, and they're very good at that. But what they're doing right now is innovating beyond that. And I think it's shown based on their commitment to new technologies. And really, they have a very clear focus around innovation.
When is it going to start to come down? We've mentioned the bottom line. What about revenues? I mean, is it revenue accretive immediately, this deal?
We are seeing revenues coming in already. So I think on the Prasa deal was the first, you know, really sizable deal. And we have a number of other opportunities out there, specifically in government. But even in the enterprise, in the normal commercial space, we're starting to close a number of deals. So I think it's going to go, you know, in leaps and bounds.
Final 30 seconds. Who's getting the most out of this deal and the financial collaboration? Is there any money changing hands, or is it just literally a business venture that's coming together, and hopefully in the future that will yield for both of you? I
think that's exactly, Lindsay. I mean, it really is a joint engagement. We are seen as a value-added partner. We see the critical importance of what Huawei can do, and we're committed to drive their product into the market.
Okay. Tim, thanks very much for coming in this lunchtime. That's Tim Ellis, Group Executive of Business Development at Altec. Now, CIC is an important shareholder of Blackstone, setting the tone for their involvement in the Chinese economy. CNBC Africa's Samantha Loring asked John Studzinski, who is the Senior Managing Director of Blackstone, where the major areas of growth in China is, and where Blackstone has already made key investments into the Chinese economy. Here's that chat.
Blackstone, as you probably know, has had China through the Chinese